To many people's surprises, this man is featuring on Don't Be Dumb. Coincidentally, I actually fell into a Black Eyed Peas wormhole, and here's what I discovered. What's good, y'all? My name is August Graves. I'm a rapper, singer, producer, and music commentator. I was born in 1999, so this band right here is part of my childhood. My introduction to them was Boom Boom Pow. As I became a teenager, I was told they are a scourge upon hip hop and music in general. And maybe it's just the current day and age, but I've been a little bit nostalgic for their music, so I just happened to be bumping it for the past week actually. But here's what I discovered by going deep into their music, and specifically Will.i.am's production. When they first came out back in the late 1990s, they were dropping a lot of songs that sampled bossa nova and samba songs, while a breakbeat would be underneath it. A lot of the times the song would be about positivity or uplifting oneself. However, compared to other artists such as Talib Kweli, Mos Def, Busta Rhymes, Snoop Dogg, and the Native Tongues Unit, the Black Eyed Peas writing was a little bit more nondescript, shall I say. I can list you a bunch of songs off of the two albums that I absolutely enjoyed, from Cali to New York, Lil, I enjoy Head Bops, Joints and Jams, but I more so enjoyed them for the sound. With regards to the writing and the lyricism, you can take it or leave it. And it probably was the case for a lot of artists around that time too, because while the Black Eyed Peas were still getting a buzz, they were still bubbling under the top 100. However, in 2003, Will.i.am ended up switching up the format in order to create a more pop-friendly sound. The samples and the breakbeats were replaced for live instrumentation and pop song structures. Songs were being written with more intention. And then you have Fergie joining the group this year in order to add a woman's perspective to a lot of their songs. This is the album that has songs like Let's Get It Started, Hey Mama, Shut Up, and the giant smash that was Where Is the Love. Here's where I should probably establish the difference between a beat maker and a producer. There's been a lot of talk of that, especially after the Terrence Martin video dropped, and I can agree to an extent what he was talking about, but there's a little bit of nuance that's lacked. With a beat maker, that's one of the producer's jobs, to create the soundscape behind a song. Beat makers are very important, and they literally create the sounds in which a writer, a rapper, a singer, what have you, are making their song over. However, a producer does a lot more than that. They organize how the song is created. They establish who's playing what. They lead the direction of the song in order to create a great hit. As such, if you take a look at the credits for this album, Will.i.am plays keys on a lot of the album. However, there's definitely a live band that comes in to play on Let's Get It Started, on Shut Up, on Where Is the Love. And while Will.i.am isn't solely the man behind the music, he is still leading the sessions in order to create these songs to push the Black Eyed Peas from underground hip-hop to mainstream hip-hop. In a lot of interviews, you will hear Will.i.am talking about the business of the music business alongside the music itself, and how he understands the importance of evolution. For example, this album right here that he made by himself, he had dropped it in collaboration with some beer company. Let me look it up real quick. Coors. He had worked with Coors to create this project because he had understood the business behind making a soundtrack to alcohol that they can play within their bars. That way he can also get the money behind it. You see this evolution continue into this album right here, Monkey Business. I challenge you to listen to Pump It and tell me what it's talking about. Tell me what it means. But also, I'll ask you another question after you do so. Does it matter what Pump It means? When Will.i.am was talking about the making of this project, he said the goal was to make live anthems, songs that are geared towards big events. Like Pump It is a soccer stadium anthem. You have Don't Lie, which is a breakup anthem. You have Don't Funk With My Heart. And then you have My Humps, a song that Will.i.am had written from the perspective of one of his cousins who goes clubbing. While you can say whatever you can and whatever you want about Black Eyed Peas' hip-hop credentials, their pop sensibilities are second to none. From the hooks, to the melodies, to the reintroduction of samples. They introduced a lot of Indian samples in reflection of the times with artists such as Timbaland, who would also utilize a lot of Indian samples around this time. He even produced on the third track, My Style, featuring Justin Timberlake. But one thing was very clear, this album had a lot of pop hits, and the Black Eyed Peas were getting a lot better at the hip hop formula. Now, this album is very controversial in a lot of music circles, but not because it's offensive by any means, but rather because of the opposite. But one could even venture to say that this is one of the forbearing albums that predicted the meshing of hip hop and electro music. Way before you have songs like Wild for the Night with ASAP Rocky and Skrillex, you have the Black Eyed Peas and David Guetta working across this project, making a lot of electro hip hop. Songs like Electric City, Rock Your Body, I'ma Be, Boom Boom Pow, I Got a Feeling. Again, while the lyrics and the writing are nondescript, there's a pop science that goes behind certain lyric and vowel sounds that go along with certain melodies. So while at this point their style had become a facsimile or a shadow of what hip hop was at the time, what can be seen is that there's definitely an acumen in knowing how to mesh pop with electro at the time, with hip hop. And while one can agree that as an album listening experience, the entirety of the project doesn't fully age as well, you can't say that the first 5 songs of this project aren't evergreen, aren't everlasting, aren't a forebearer for a lot of music that was to come in the 2010s. Even in today's music with albums like Translation and Elevation, while the Black Eyed Peas have dimmed in the sense of like pop fame, it still shows an acumen and a sense of where the direction lies. As with the earlier projects from Behind the Front all the way up to Elefunk, there's Latin influence when it comes to the samples, and in this project, it comes to the features too. Rather than a cash grab for another market, it reflects the lives of Will.i.am, Taboo, and Will.i.am. Will.i.am lived in East LA, where he's surrounded by many black and brown communities. Taboo himself is a Mexican American rapper. And before he was living in East LA as well, Apple the App originally hailed from the Philippines. Throughout all 3 of their careers, no matter what they did, they had always shown their appreciation for Latin culture. And these recent projects have not only shown an appreciation for that culture, but it also continues the connection that they've established ever since they started dropping music. I bring all of this up to say, as random as Will.i.am's appearance on Don't Be Dumb is, his legacy as a hip hop rapper and a hip hop producer, as well as the mastermind behind the Black Eyed Peas and then hits such as OMG and American Boy, I'm interested to see what he contributes to this new project. For more on your favorite rappers and producers, feel free to follow, and for all others, thank you for listening.